What's going on, Warshippers? Wrong scene. Technical difficulty. Perfect. There we go. What's going on, Warshippers? How are we? We're back. We're going to talk about the tech tree. I've got Scully with me. I've got Jess with me. Say hello, fellas.
Jess, you want to say hi first?
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out. Yeah, what's up, guys? I hope everybody's having a good weekend. Ready to kind of talk some ships.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to be here too. And every single boom talk we end up doing, especially me with Martin, you know, every time Aaron's done introducing himself, and then it goes to me and Martin, we always speak over each other. So I figured we probably should have gotten that out of the way there first. But yeah, no, excited to be here and talk about the tech tree. There's a lot going on for Warships, and there's going to be a lot to talk about. So this is going to be a fun stream.
Indeed, yes. We're going to go through the tree. We're going to look at some deck layouts. We're going to discuss potential paths. We're going to take questions from you lot in chat. We're going to endeavour to answer them as best we can. Right, where are we going to start? Should we start with the tree itself?
Shall we say a quick hi to everybody in the chat?
Yes, that's the first thing to do, isn't it? Of course it is.
We could totally skip it there. But I think we've got who's at the front there. I want to say that's Merso. I think it's Merso. Sorry, it's blocked by the pin message in the chat there. But Merso, what's going on? Welcome. Doom, I didn't notice you in there. Very good to see you, buddy. I know you're probably going to have a lot of probably a lot to say in the chat there. Severance, good to see you as well, buddy. Welcome to the live stream today. Tommy K, what's going on, buddy? We got Grenz 101 as well. 2 boom talks in a row. Well, technically, yes, even though this one is catered just to the tech tree. You know, tech talk is what we're calling it. Omar Sniper, what's up, buddy? Welcome. Andrew Down is joining us as well. Groove, lighting it up for the boys. Love it. Once again, Doom, Omar, everybody giving the love. Macer, very good to see you. Stella Rose, Junie, Martin Dell, Mr. Boom, Shady Mike, welcome. Fezman, how you doing, buddy? Zen Buddha joining us as well. Amberer, very good to see you. Tutu Lala, we got Wreck. Is that Wreck? That's Wreck. Everybody get their game face on. Wreck, good to see you, buddy. Captain Blackadder. We got a lot of people joining us right now. This is awesome. And I believe that's everybody. Oh, Pete, I see you, Pete. Big shout out to Pete Minstrel. Martin, Derek, good to see you, Derek. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody.
I am so thankful he did that just then. He is so quick with it, and I would have butchered people's names. It would have been a slaughter.
I still tend to butcher people's names like crazy. So I do apologize, if I missed anybody. JP, good to see you. Knight, what's up as well? And again, I apologize if we missed anybody, and I apologize if I butchered any names. But JP, what's going on here? Martin, we had a couple of people in the chat there saying that the stream is a little bit choppy here.
Yeah, I've got Aaron's on. I've got Aaron on message telling me he's seeing the same as well, and I'm all sorts of red lights going on here. So just give me 1 second.
Well, maybe me and Skull can talk about our initial first impressions of the tree while you check out all the lights. No, I was actually really excited about it after not seeing a tech tree for a couple of weeks. I was actually really excited, and for the most part, I think Supercell did after being off for 2 weeks, they made the tree really easy for everybody. I mean, you know, there's 2 paths, but there's really, for the most part, just one path for most people.
Now, with that one path, obviously, I'm assuming that path is the path of the Bombardiers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now my question is, because I was mentioning this to Martin actually right before you joined us on call here, was like what the correct thing should be after getting the Bombardiers, like, you know, continuing, you know, with the multi-node going towards the rocket launchers, or, you know, do you actually backtrack and pick up any of those mines, you know, cannons, whatever it may be?
No, that's a fantastic question, and that's a debate that has been had in Telegram for like the past 2 days. Actually, my train of thought is that straight out the gate, you go straight to bombers, After you unlock bombers, you go straight back for green mines, cannons, and then you proceed up to your RLs. And I think most people, even if you finish 21.5, you can get to RLs, green mines, and cannons, and then you can go forward straight to 4ER through the mech shock launcher path.
Yeah, because I that's where I was getting to the point where, because I did a video today where I was like, you know, it's right in your face, exactly like you were saying. I mean, it's common sense, at least it should be, for most players to make their way right to Bombas. You know, nobody, and I'm going to emphasize this again, nobody should be unlocking Shockeneers right off the bat. Do not get pulled into that trap, especially if you're new to the game and you see a troop like, you know, the Shockeneer so readily available in 2-engine room. Like, unless you're planning on staying in 2-engine room, I would highly recommend to avoid this troop early, because A, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna be a key vacuum here. It's gonna suck up 18 precious keys that you're gonna need, and it's a support troop, so you're not gonna be able to rely on any of its DPS really. So the Grens could come in handy, but I mean, like, the real winner clearly is the Bombas, and it's just what's that next move there. So, Jess, I'm glad you said that, you know, backtracking for the cannons and the mines, and then the cannons would be the next move there. And then, you know, pursuing your way up to the rocket launchers, and then, you know, onwards towards 4-engine room there. Do you think it's possible to hit 4ER in the first day?
I think those people that do go bottom path, that are racing to RCs, I think with them skipping mines, cannons, skipping bombers, and all of that, I think they can probably get to 4ER. If not 4ER, they can get to mortars, which is right before 4ER. So I think that's possible. But I think people on the bomber path, I think we're going to be just short. I think you're going to probably see people kind of resting around that GBE area, the GBE node, at the end of day one. And the reason I say that, I'm a little hesitant on the star inflation. Like, I don't know how fast we'll be able to rank up with a portion of the warships, like, no longer there. Like, a lot of people attacking. I don't know if the inflation will be there where we can see people get diamond day one, or even see people get to that rank 19, 20 on day one. So it's more of a wait and see for me right now with that.
I think if there's going to be a chance for that to happen on day one, I mean, day one is probably the better chance of it happening, because even though, you know, half our player base, more, if not more, you know, have now been split, you know, to their own server, you know, there's still going to be a higher volume of players on day one, because it's the first day of Warships, right? More people are going to be out. More players will be online because they're excited to play. I think that's really going to start to factor in, you know, leading into the second, and by the time we get to the third week, I think that's when we're really probably going to start to feel that pinch. But hopefully, I mean, we really don't notice that on the first day, just because, you know, that first day excitement, you know, it's almost like the honeymoon phase of Warships, right?
Until people hit that wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. The wall, it can come early sometimes, but typically it's that 4ER wall. You know, every season there seems to be that ugly, nasty, like, 4ER deck with max RLs and shock launchers and everything that you really don't want to use, and you don't have the meat shield at that point to really dominate the base. So that's where the wall typically happens. But I mean, there's a lot of D to start this season, so kind of hard to tell. But I mean, I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited, especially for mechs being right there at the beginning, just to kind of see what they offer. Because
we have a meat shield with mechs now. I mean, because that you mentioned meat shield already. First off, I have to say, Martin, I'm watching the stream here. I mean, I don't have the volume on for it, but I see you moving your hands there, and like it's looking pretty flawless. But
yeah, I think we've we've found the I built a new scene, and I've added a few little animations to it, and it looks like that has been too much for my system to cope with. So we've kind of cut all those off, turned all those off, thrown them in the bin. We've got the essential stuff on screen. And we'll worry about remaking scenes and things at a later date. But we are working now, so I should now be able to take this tree, and the plan was to be able to draw paths on it. So what we're sort of saying is that for those jumping to, but for those, those of us playing, we're looking at boom mines and sniper towers first, aren't we? As the first two nodes to open.
Yeah,
on the main path, of 3, yeah.
And then obviously the third engine room. And then,
one thing, because a lot of us are already pretty much thinking, like, we're thinking way ahead of the pack already, because we're so used to, like, 2 ER, ew, nobody plays that. But surprisingly, a lot of players do actually play 2 ER. And I think I did see a question in the chat there. It might have been from Derek. I do apologize, buddy, if I butchered your name there. But he was mentioning what happens if you can't unlock Bombas on the first day, which I think is also a good question, because I think a lot of players at the same time will not be able to unlock them on the first day. What do you guys think would be the best option in that case?
If you're starting below rank 10, as long as you're starting above rank 10, you can get Bombas right out the gate. So you'd have to be starting almost on a brand new account, or an account that finished like at rank 15 or 16 last season. But then I would just say, do not get the Shockeneers or the Shock Mines, even if you have to play 2 ERs, and then just get by with the Grins until you get enough rank chests where you can get the bombers. But just don't fall in, like Skull said, don't fall into the trap of the Shockeneers and the Shock Mines. If you need to, get the green mines and the cannons, and then just make your way to bombers as quickly as possible.
Well, it's something that I'm just looking at now. Just pulled the calculator up, and I'm just going to very quickly run the setup and see exactly how many keys we're going to need to get to...
I can tell you off the top of my head how much each one costs without even looking at it.
Martin, and I was making jokes about how good your tech tree memory was. Jess is like a whole other level right now.
44 for the 2 nodes before 3 ER, then it's 36 for the 3 ER, 42 for Sparky, 18 for the BH, and then it's 24 for bombers, 26 for the node above it, which would be 50 total. I've added up so many different people's pass for them the past couple of days that I just know it off the top of my head.
I don't know if that's impressive or if that's scary. So it's definitely impressive, dude. That's awesome.
As you can see there, the rank 10 is required to open up Bombardiers without the 4 free chests. So
that's a big chunk of the player base. Like, I mean, I'm starting in rank 14, so I mean that's a big sigh of relief for me.
Yeah.
So I just didn't you say if it was pretty much if you finished rank 21 last season, then
I think even 15 15. If you finished at rank 15 or 16, you can get bombers with your 4, including the 4/4. But I think it's 18. You have to finish 18 to get them right out the bat without the 4/4.
Wow, okay, my bad for getting that wrong, but that should actually theoretically that should put even more players in the pool being able to unlock the Bombardiers on the first day.
18 leaves you just shy. 19 will give you stone 10 start. 18 point something, I'm sure it'll be the cutoff. Probably about 18.6.
So yeah, there's Derek in the chat. He was the one that was asking about what happens if you can't get bombas on the first day. So, yeah. Derek, I believe you will be getting your bombas on the first day.
It depends exactly where in 18 you finish, Derek. 18.6, I think it is. If I go 18.59...
Yeah, they do it in halves for some reason. No. 18 and a half is that, maybe it's that cutoff, and then the next... Then 20 is the cutoff, and then 21.5 after that.
So it's at 18.5. Yeah, 18.5. So it depends on which side of 18.5 you finished. Which side of 18.5 you finished. If it's 18.5 and above, then you will be able to get them. If it's 18.49, then you're going to need one of these.
And play a battle and then get them.
One of these chests over here.
Oh, well, no, it won't affect him. But if he's that close, he'll be that close to the next rank up, hypothetically, if he's that close.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, if you do get bombers immediately, don't upgrade grins. I saw a bunch of people asking that in Telegram. If you can get immediately to bombers, there's no need on the planet to upgrade grenadiers.
Yes, that's a really good. That's a really that's a really good point to mention, because then of course, why put any upgrade tokens into the grenadiers if you're just going to be rushing right to the bombas there? A lot of players should remember, maxing out your landing craft right away is always a good idea. Of course, carry more troops, more damage. Of course, you put a lot of chunk of those tech level points to going to the next engine room. I believe gunboat to tick like 3 or 4. And of course, your snipers and not your snipers, sorry, your machine guns and your flamethrowers, whichever level allows you to get 4 or 5 of each of them, you take them to that tick, and then I guess it's whatever you want to do with your boom cannons or boom mines and snipers. So yeah, what Jess said, do not upgrade your grens if you're planning on going for those bombas. Massive waste of tokens.
And I mean, I would say that almost in any season, if it's a troop you're not going to use, but it's already unlocked, but more so in this season, because at the very beginning, it's very token intensive. We use a ton of tokens. BH is 778. Bombers is around 775. Then you have RLs, shock launchers, you have all the mines, then you have all the defenses. We're going to be really short on tokens right out the gate.
So
we're going to feel that pinch too.
This is my calculator that I've pulled up for Bull. So this is what Bull will be doing at the start of the season. With my 4/4 iron chests, I've got tick 4 gunboat, tick 5 landing craft, tick 2 shock bombs, tick 4 flamethrower, tick 4 machine gun, tick 5 green mine, tick 4 cannon, tick 5 boom mine, tick 4 sniper towers, 5 building health, 5 bombardiers, 3 on the rocket launchers and 3 on the mechs. That leaves me 790,000 tokens with 28 keys, and it kind of depends on where you go there. Bobby Johnson, if you start at 14, how close can you get to the rocket choppers out of the gate?
Yeah, unless you have a gold start, I would not recommend going for rocket choppers. So unless you finished in leg 2, I would recommend not going for rocket choppers. Just being honest.
Yeah,
so Martin, this is really good right here. I actually would recommend a lot of people watching this to actually take a screenshot of what Martin has posted here with his plan for Ballistic Bull, because this is pretty much spot on. This is pretty much what I'm pretty much going to be doing too, Martin. Knowing what level I should be taking them to, but just seeing the numbers on there. Shout out to the Tech Tree calculator. Make sure you guys are using it. Yeah, no, this is good. So yeah, screenshot this, guys.
Yeah, that's kind of like it's the safe path. I think it's the median path. It's the average path. It's the vanilla path. But it's the safe path.
Well, that, and then once you get to either RLs or mechs, you might need to go ahead and get the mechs to unlock them, just so you have the meat shield, especially with us not having flare and not being able to flare the D right on the deck, and having RLs.
That's one thing we haven't really talked about, other than you mentioning that right now, is no flare till 4. Yeah, the meat shield is going to be a big part of, especially after the bombas are unlocked and players start getting rocket launchers.
Sorry, I was just talking to myself. Yeah, I was just bringing the tech tree back up again. So yeah, but once we get to rocket launchers, up here, the decision then is like, where do we go from there, isn't it? Like you said, are we going to push forward and open the mech? Do we come back to green mines and to cannons if you haven't already got them? Because I think a lot of people are on about coming to the bombardier rocket launcher, and then sort of reviewing what the meta is and deciding where they go from there. That seems to be, from what I've read.
That's what I was going to say. I would get green mines and cannons immediately anyways, just because green mines are going to be probably what kills your bombers the most until you get to mortars besides the RLs. And not just that, it allows you to take a breath, allows you to hit the button that allows you to see other players and see what the likes of Stoneheart, or Doom or Cobra Bomber or Omar Sniper or anybody else is doing. See how they're doing, see if they're moving up, and you can kind of tell what tech they have. And then you can adjust accordingly, whether that's critters or going to shock launchers or whatever.
Yeah. So my question to that is, because I'm looking at this right now as well, thinking, will we be able to get the green mines and the cannons? Like, so the season starts, okay, we collect all of our chests from the previous season, or the chests that we get to start this season. Are we going to be able to get the green mines, the cannons, and then go boom mines, sniper, 3 ER, Sparky, building health, and then bombas all in one go, even before we start our first battle?
Yeah, you'll be able to get to RLs, I believe, where you started.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so, Martin, that answers that then. There's no need for us to even consider any backtracking for green mines and cannons. Like Jess just already mentioned, it's those green mines that are pretty much going to be the biggest threat to the bombas. So might as well get them early if we know we're just going to be getting them anyways.
So Donkey,
you're going to be able to unlock it all on path.
So Donkey will be doing this from out of the gate. I start in 14 and I can get to rocket launchers with Donkey. Tick 4 rocket launchers, tick 4 bombardiers, tick 3 sniper tower, tick 5 boom mine, tick 3 machine guns, 3 flamethrowers, 3 shock bombs, 5 landing craft, 3 gunboat. The reason that they're all a little bit lower is because after my 4th iron chest, I go max rocket launchers. But that will still be enough to give me mechs, green mines and cannons with the extra tokens. As you can see here, the first chest of 4, which I'm expecting to collect in iron, gets me the mechs. The second chest gets me the green mines. The third chest gets me the cannons. The 4th chest maxes my rocket launchers. That leaves me with no tokens whatsoever. But I am.
Wow. You just said maxes my rocket launchers.
Yeah.
I will. I will let everybody know that's an account. That's an additional account that you're just having fun on, not like something you recommend the masses.
Okay.
I see Pete in the chat saying about Pineappies. Pineappies going on this crazy wacky path. I think it goes a little something like this, where she's coming down through round up bombers, smoke, and then sort of onto the rocket choppers as quickly as possible. That's kind of like his fun, wacky, crazy, going to use his aggressive style to do what he does there. I'm doing this. That
does not surprise me one bit that Pete's doing that with Pineapple. And you know what? I'm probably going to do something similar on my Borealis account, because the safe path, or at least the path that we're talking about before this crazy one, that's what I'm going to be doing on SkullCrusher, which means I last few seasons I've gotten this habit of literally playing the same path on both accounts. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do that. I want to go back to experimenting with 2 different paths. So I do like that idea. I'll probably try something very similar on my other account.
Yeah, I mean that's a wacky path, and you can't. I'd say you're not going to be ranking up going that path, but when you've got. You're not going BH. Okay,
you're sacrificing the BH for the TH, because if you're going BH, then you're most likely not going to be picking up that TH right away. And if you go that other crazy path, then most likely you'll end up getting that troop health.
So it's literally just
you're sacrificing one for the other, But the TH may come in handy for the bombas, because remember, there's no flares yet. So yeah. I kind of like Pete's thinking on this one.
Wow, that's brave. That's brave. But yeah, to come back to where this kind of started, you can get to rocket launchers out of the gate, and you can max them with those first 3 iron chests if you're starting in 14. And I'm hoping that will be enough to give me a rank chest to 15. So I will have then some tokens up here to be able to start maybe, putting a bit of love into the the green mines, or I won't be able to put it all into the green mines, but yeah, putting a bit of love into green mines and cannons. Failing that, I'm going to have to wait until later on tomorrow afternoon before I can pick up another. I'd like to think that it would get me to gold, but we'll never know. Donkey's the fun one, Bull's the sensible one.
What I was going to say is, oh, my bad. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to remind people, please don't max Sparky out the gate either. Sparky is incredibly expensive. And I know people want to get their hero on up there, but Sparky's level 4 and 5 is just absurdly expensive. So if you're going to put some love into Sparky, just don't go beyond tick 3.
That's a really good point to mention. Yeah, no, Bullet is definitely the most expensive, and then Sparky is a hard second right there. So, yeah, tick 3, definitely a good point on that.
So there you see Sparky, 154 for tick 2, 186.5 for tick 3, 448, nearly $500,000 for tick 4, and
it's
one
that
and a
max
quarter
upgrade that just murders your upgrade tokens. 1.2 million. Jeez. Yeah. Well, 2.5. It's crazy.
I'm using my Ballistic Bull account to race you, Aaron. Unless Donkey does really well on the first day, then I'll be using that.
The zero guy with the purple umbrella, he always used to get like max RLs day 1, and then you would see him like creep into diamond really early, but then he would always fall back out because all he had was like defenses and max RLs. But I mean, it's doable. You can have fun with it.
See, Doomer's saying that he's going this path and skip it. Same path as Pete. Literally the quickest path
skipping
possible.
Bombers.
He's skipping Bombers.
So that means
he's going RC then Seeker, which is like you have to finish super high to make it worthy.
He's got to use a troop prior to get unlocking that. Like you can't tell me. Oh, that's what I'm saying. So Doom is actually going to be attacking with his Grens prior to making his way to RCs.
But what makes it doable is the gold start allows him to, or just right below gold start, allows him to get the RCs Tuesday night, whereas everybody else would be getting them Wednesday or Thursday. And you don't know if at that point the main path has caught up to you and has gotten boom cannons, which are right past RCs. So it's a gamble, and the only way it really pays off is if you get them early enough for them to be viable, until everybody catches up.
Yeah, no, really good points there. Doom, you're crazy, man. Jeez.
Yeah, they'll be dominant for a minute, but when you get all the boom cannons and the cannons, and we even have our boom surprise right out the gate this season as well, it'll get tough quick, but that window will be a nice little window for a minute.
So that's a good point to mention right there with the boom surprise being so early there. And I'm looking at that multi-node right now, and with boom surprise now being able to target our air troops, what's going to be the most bang for our buck on that multi-node? On that proto node, microwaver, boom surprise, or SEMO? Boom surprise might be the winner here.
Yeah, it's really nice. And the reason that it might be the boom surprise is because I would maybe lean towards the SEMO initially, but with Sparky spitting out critters nonstop, the SEMO goes for the least health, the troop with the least amount of health. And so those critters are going to get in the way of the SEMO actually hitting the bombardiers.
No, that's definitely good. That's definitely good to know right there, because I even remember a few of you guys talking about, or at least I wasn't involved in this conversation, but I saw it happening on Telegram with regards to if it's going to be possible. We haven't mentioned critters yet. At least I don't think we have. If it's going to be possible to critter an engine room, if for those that do get critters early, but already, regular green mines and boom mines are going to be everywhere. But are players going to be thinking about using their green mines around engine rooms to stop critters, or will players have them spaced out on the deck layout to stop the bombas? So maybe critters might be a thing.
Oh, I agree. Especially within the first hour, while people are setting up their bases, people don't have everything initially. People are only putting out a few things initially. just to get their timers going. So they haven't put out maybe their RLs or their like all the machine guns, all the flamethrowers, all the mines. At that point, yeah, people will be crittering an ER if they have critters. But once the meta settles, I think once people have shock launchers, RLs, mines, stuff like that, it'll be significantly harder. But then you'll have some people that will still be able to do it. I just don't know that I'm one of those people.
No, so that's a sorry, Martin.
I just wanted to say there's a couple of people in the chat who's the voice of wisdom. Obviously, they know my voice, they know you, Skull, but that is Jess. Jess runs a small collective called The Collective. When they're not a task force, it's a group on Telegram that his video at the end of each season, he kind of invites a couple of people to come and learn some slightly more advanced tactics. His YouTube channel is pinned there at the top of the chat. Feel free to get over there, smack a subscribe, look at some of his videos.
Oh, you are a beauty. I was just going to ask if we should share it, but just shows how much I'm paying attention. Thank you. Yeah, you've got his YouTube channel pinned in the chat there.
Yeah, the thing I love about Jess is his explanation. Well, no, I mean his personality and everything. Jess, you're a great guy, but no, his videos especially, they are the communication on it. The way he describes the drops, not just what to do, but why to do it, which then makes that transferable to other hits. When you understand why you're doing something, not just what you're doing, but why you're doing it, it makes that information so much easier to transfer to other deck layouts. To, you know, when you see something that's a little bit off meta, you can kind of take that knowledge and apply it to that. Martin's gushing, but yeah. But no, you know, Jess is the hardest working dude in the community. I bet everyone has benefited from Jess's advice at some point in time, whether they know it or not. Absolutely nailed it there, Pete. That's what I was trying to say, but Pete's put it in a sentence. Yeah. So get over there, get subscribed, watch those videos as he drops them, because you will learn from them. So yeah, I was just trying to do the rocket chopper path starting from gold 16 here while you two were chatting. So just to sort of...
Yeah, no, I just want to touch on that for a second there. Yeah, you nailed it there. Pete absolutely freaking nailed it as well. You guys should definitely check out Jess's YouTube channel. And this is, you know, one of the problems with Boom Beach. I know, you know, that there's a lot of them, but, you know, if you are, you know, starting to make content for Boom Beach, you know, it's very difficult to get your content out there and to get noticed and to get exposure, to get people to see. So Martin brings up some really good points that you got somebody like Jess who is just, you know, really, really knowledgeable when it comes to warships, and his videos are just very detailed and specific to, you know, one certain aspect of the game that can help you improve so much. So without a doubt, you know, if you are a warship player and you are looking to improve your game, check out the pinned comment in the YouTube chat, which is Jess's YouTube channel. Make sure you are subscribed to it with that bell turned on, and you will learn some stuff when it comes to warships.
Absolutely.
You guys just described my channel better than I ever could have.
You do this long enough. You do this long enough. You get a feel for, you know, you got a feel for other BoomTuber styles, and you know, it's not hard to, you know, to tell the difference and, you know, to talk about it. You know, that's the thing, right? Like, you know, so many of us stream the same game, but or upload content for the same game, but we each just do it a little bit differently, you know, with our charisma, our personality, our knowledge, you know, whatever it may be. And, you know, that's just what makes us unique as BoomTubers. So, you know,
I agree with that. And I think I love that the most about it, though, is that, like, even when it comes to our thumbnails or our titles on videos, everything is completely unique. While we might be delivering similar content because it's the same game, everything is completely unique to that creator. I mean, just like Mr. Olsen and his party hat.
Shout out to Mr. Olsen.
or the chicken he plays with. You know, everybody has different content, and everybody brings something, which is really enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. 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 100% agree Absolutely. So that's another reason why I love this game so much. Is the amazing people out there, content creators that want to see this game succeed just as much as the rest of us. So yeah, definitely, guys, without a doubt. And Jess, definitely looks like you're getting some love in the chat there, man.
Well, I can't see it or the tech tree, but thank you to whoever and whomever. Thank you.
That's awesome.
But yeah, RC Path. Are you gonna do it on one of yours, Martin?
I don't think so, no, because I've got Donkey doing the wacky path with the max rocket launchers. I've got Bull doing the sensible path to humiliate Aaron, and then Meerkat will just be sat.
I bet you that's like the top thing on your mind for this season is just beat Aaron, beat Aaron, beat Aaron.
The only thing on my mind for this season.
Yes.
It's the top, middle, and bottom thing on my mind.
It's the same thing with me and Stoneheart. I'm just trying to come up with like different ways to like manufacture reasons why he shouldn't go the RC path, so he can help me on my like traditional path.
So you know what? I don't want to spray too much off topic here. But how is this going to affect Stoneheart now on his global rankings with our Chinese friends removed? He should have global #1 on lockdown like it's his day job.
Well, it's all going to come down to whether Big Bear Ballin's playing, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, wait, sorry. What was that, Martin?
It's all going to come down to whether Big Bear Ballin's playing, isn't it?
Is he not playing this season?
Well, if he plays,
he took the season off.
If he plays,
play, like the first day, but not the whole season.
If he plays, then there's a fight for #1. If he doesn't, then it's Stones, isn't it?
Well, there's normally Stoneheart, Big Bear Ballin, Cobra Bomber, Jess is up there with him as well.
Derek will be up there. Team Wolf
from the join at your own risk. There's always a handful of names that are always at the top of the U.S. leaderboard, and that you always do see at the top of the global leaderboard as well. So I'm wondering if it's just going to be Global 5. It's just going to be these names now.
Well, it's just there's so many. Well, that and then there's so many people that take significant seasons off and then come back. Like I know at least the past 2 seasons, Javi, Kaiser, Ivan, those guys, they haven't really played, and so I'm wondering if they'll hop back in now. So yeah, hopefully it brings more people back, and the break off allows more people to come back. Not just because we need more bodies, but also base building. The art of base building has gone away to the point where we seem to slap the same base on every day. So hopefully we can get back to something different.
Bobby Johnson pointed out that we've all left out Doom in that as well.
Doom is on the Canadian leaderboard. Sorry, I was first just pretty much because I know the US leaderboard is also a lot of Chinese character names on it, and when I have looked at it, those were the names that you normally will see at the top. Stoneheart, Cobra Bomber, Big Bear Ballin, Jess, Skywalker, and those are at least the ones that I can remember off the top of my head.
You've also got some players in the UK, like Basil, who's quite often up towards the top as well. We may see a return of Cactus. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if he's stepping away, if he's just not as interested, or I know he's younger, so his studies in real life might be #1 as well. But yeah, he's definitely not as active as he was prior with Warships.
So I have just put the rocket chopper path onto the calculator. So if you're starting at gold or gold 16, assuming that you get 1 gold chest, you can get to rocket choppers on Wednesday morning. This is based on UK time.
So Tuesday night in America.
So that would be Tuesday evening, or late Tuesday night, early hours of Wednesday morning in America. That's assuming that you get 1 of those gold chests. If you got that in iron, no, it would still be the same in iron. So even if you fell out of iron, but that means having that gold start. You have to have that gold start. If we change that, let's just say we change that to where I finished, which is a 14 start, you would still need a further, I think it's, so that wouldn't be till Thursday morning You wouldn't get the rocket choppers till Thursday morning.
The problem with that is people ranking up, like the people on main path, ranking up to 19, 20, or even 21 by then, and passing or getting to the point where they're right at boom cannons, right as you get rocket choppers, and then it just devalues what you just spent 2 or 3 days racing to get.
Yeah.
But yeah, also, this is not the season to skip flare because it's like right off path. I know I saw a couple people mention like, oh, we might just skip flare. It's like right there. There's no reason to skip it this season.
You know what?
A lot of people ask that.
If they're going to give us a season, I don't ever recall a season of Warships where flare was given to us in 4 engine room. So A, this might be a first for Warships, and B, if they are going to do this to us, honestly, Jess, Martin, I'm really glad that at least they've given us, A, a Gren, or B, a Bomba to at least manage without flares, because I'd much rather use Grens or Bombas than going in with, Heavy Rush gets it done, Heavy Zuka as well, but, I'm much more comfortable using a long-distance range troop, with a decent DPS, if not a strong DPS, while not using flares. So, at least, there's some balance to the weirdness of it.
So the path that I've just put on screen now is what I'm considering doing with Donkey. And that is no flare all the way to 7ER.
But that's not happening on the first day, is it?
No, not on the first day. That's like the season long plan with Donkey. So I get my max rocket launchers there. I'll pick my mechs up there, and then literally this path here, the direct line to 7ER, or at least to heavy choppers, will be done with mechs and bombers and Sparky, and then 7ER. Get all this goodness here in 7ER, and then look at going to backfill for things like the flare, the artillery. It's a thought. I might do it, might evolve. I don't know.
Well, what I was going to say to add on to that with your racing is people that are worried about diamond or getting diamond. My thought, I have the Stoneheart approach when it comes to gold, diamond, and leg. I don't really care about the rank chests in between. I think they come naturally as you unlock tech, but you don't have to really worry about it this season, as this season is significantly cheap. So I think we all added it up, Martin, where it's you by the final Monday. As long as you get diamond by the final Monday, you can complete the tree.
That was what we worked out.
Which gives players a 2-week window to hit diamond. That's effectively, that's all the time in the world, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to have a rule of thumb where I say as long as you diamond by the first Saturday or first Saturday or Sunday, you're
normally gold day 1, diamond at least by the end of the first week. So just knowing that you've got that extra cushion. Again, you don't have to hit gold day 1. It just, to get that difference in the keys better when it comes to chests. And of course, hell yeah, it feels better.
Yeah. So
but sorry, Martin.
So Doom is just saying in chat there that he is, let me minimize that and get rid of that one. He is looking at this with this rocket chopper path. When he picks Rifleman up here, that Rifleman and the troop health on the 4ER deck hopefully will be the ticket to get him back to gold. But
that's him facing other hopefully in that scenario would be him facing other 4ER decks as the other people that went that path as well. With them, the issue I have with that is that with them separating the Chinese from the server is a lot of Chinese players would have done that path. A ton of Chinese players would have raced either straight to RCs or Seekers. And so if you eliminate those, you eliminate that competition as well. And so that's who you would have been facing. And so it just makes it just a little bit harder to tech ride going forward, I believe. I mean, you still can do it, and I know a lot of people will. I just think it'll be a lot harder than it was previously.
Yeah, so if he did that, he would get his rifleman Tuesday morning, so effectively Monday night. So on his 7th chest, if he could then push back into gold, and let's just say he got back to 17 with those riflemen. I'm doing this for your benefit more than anything, Doom. That would then put him into gold, which would he would then need flare, which would then give him flares. Where's me flare gone? There it is. Flares and rocket choppers. Rocket choppers. So he would then. Yeah, he would then get if he could do that, push back into diamond, gold, and get to 17, he would get his rocket choppers Tuesday night, or would be, or Tuesday afternoon, really. I'm trying to think what time your chests are. That side.
It would be 10. 10 or not 10. Yeah, 10, 2 a.m., 10 a.m., and then 6 p.m. would be his time.
Those are awful chest pushing times. At least, knowing that you have to get up at 2 a.m. I mean, depending on your schedule, but I mean, yeah. I only like getting up, 2, 3 a.m. for season premiere. I definitely don't want to do a daily thing of it just to collect a chest. So that's why.
No,
could you not let that chest? Could you not let the chest build and then just collect 2 or 3?
No, definitely. Yeah, right. And just like when you wake up and after you have your coffee or your energy drink, then you get going.
Because I know some players, like when it comes down to it, at least like when you're making a big unlock, like Martin is showcasing, like Doom projecting to get rocket choppers on, let's say, Tuesday night or whatever, if that time it was at 2 a.m. and, Doom was able to be the first player to get them and then have a massive 8-hour window before the rest get there, yeah, I would probably get up early to collect a chest in that case.
Yeah, because I know people that'll do it once leg unlocked, especially like in the past, watching Stoneheart play a lot. He, when leg unlocks that Monday morning at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., he will push then, to try and get to the leg because they've been sitting there at like 24, 25 waiting for it to unlock. But yeah, it's rough getting up in the middle of the night, especially with people that either have jobs or school. It's just, it's asking a nice amount in return.
Well, today is going to be a perfect example for all of us, or at least most of us on the in North America here. It's going to be 3, 4 a.m. start time.
Wait, is it 2 a.m. start time or is it 3 or 4
2 or 3. It used to be 4 a.m. Daylight savings ended. Now clocks have gone back. So, sorry, it's a 3 a.m. start. But
you scared me. I thought we went forward. I was like, even longer. Depending
on the time zones, like, if you're in Alberta or, Winnipeg, I believe, you're still an hour behind. And if you're on British Columbia, you're still 3 hours behind. And I believe if you're the far East Coast, you're still an hour ahead. There's I think, like, tons of time zones in Canada. I don't know how many off the top of my head.
There's 3 in the U.S. It's just Eastern,
okay, it's probably
Central,
3 in Canada, then never mind.
Well, no, I think you and I are in the same time zone, at least right now. I'm traveling for work. I'm normally in the West, but I'm in Central right now.
So
well, for me, it's 3:50 p.m.
So whichever way we decide to go to,
it's 2:50 for me.
Whichever way we decide to go to 4ER, once we're at 4ER, what do we think? I think the consensus is that you're going to want flare. So you're coming down to flare, which is then going to mean one of these 2 paths. Do you think that boom cannons at this point, boom cannons, heavies, TD is going to be essential, or is it going to be possible to skip straight through to 5?
I think, in my opinion, BHTD, heavy choppers, sky shield, and bombers are all must-have. Like, as soon as you get to it, or as soon as you can get it, unlock it. And so my path is flare, rocket chopper, boom cannon, TD, or heavy TD, and then going around. I'm just going to skip medkit for right now. And then I'm skipping Kavan as well. As long as Spark is working, I'll continue with Spark until I need something else.
So you're going effectively that way around. Boom cannons, heavies, TD, the 2 extra boom cannons, multi-node, and then 5.
Correct. Whereas a lot of people will go just that top path because they're trying to get to. If people are trying to get to Seekers, they'll unlock rocket choppers, go back up to med kit, and then go straight all the way to Seekers, I imagine. But I mean, you need heavies for heavy choppers, so you're gonna have to get it, and then that TD. And then the TD and 5ER, both of those together gives you a significant advantage because we're going to be at 100 TD and 50 BH for almost 3/4 of the season, or at least half of the season. And it's going to give everybody a significant offensive advantage until we get to that last BH and 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think these boom cannons are very kind of sneakily placed down here, because if you rush that top path to 5, you're going to miss out on them. And even if you come down to TD, which probably most people would do, it's only 1 node off path, you've still got to come through either through the heavies to the boom cannons, or pay that rocket chopper tax to the boom cannons there. I was considering on my bull account coming in for rocket choppers and picking up boom cannons, and then going the top path to 5 and picking up TD and leaving the heavies alone until I kind of get somewhere up here, and then picking them up the same time as I get the heavy choppers. But again, we're kind of now into the realms of you have to see how the season develops. But what do we think about Art? Do we think Art and Barrage, because they're pretty close together, aren't they? The artillery and barrage. Do we think they're going to be worth picking up this season with the low BH?
Yeah, always. It doesn't really matter even if they're stacked on the BH or not. You can never, it's just like having rocket launchers on defense, right? You can never really go wrong with having artillery and barrage. I don't know the math off the top of my head, but I'm sure Jess or even you, Martin, will have it figured out. Even with that 100% BH, it's not even 100% BH. Sorry, even with 50% BH, a max level barrage and and critters, let's say as well, probably won't take much to finish off an engine room. So again, you're going to see some players picking it up because it's just one of those resources, one of those GBE abilities that just always comes in handy.
So, yeah, the seasons you think they won't matter, or you think you can skip barrage and art, they become the meta, and then the seasons you think that they will be the meta, they aren't. So you never can tell. Mm-hmm. You never want to think that they won't be, because they might. So just always be prepared for that meta to kind of switch in a moment's notice, because we'll find out when the first people get to that area, that 5ER area where they can go directly down and get it. We'll find out really quickly then if it is something, because somebody will get it, and if they start, exploiting people's ERs, then we'll know pretty quickly.
Well, also, I guess it also depends on where you are as a player when you get to that multi-node, leading towards, the 5th engine room there. It's Zuka's to continue on the main path, or, are you just gonna, it's not even a waste of keys, because, again, how much barrage will aid you. But, it's just one of those things. Some players could be doing so well in offense, they might not even need barrage, and they can just continue to Zuka's. Other players might be struggling a lot and might realize that barrage is the answer for them. So, again, it's one of those things that, it will vary from player to player when they get to that point.
No, I agree completely. And in fact, I'm glad we're talking about, the tree as it progresses, because I think this 5ER area is the most fascinating part of the season. And I think it'll make or break people's seasons depending on what they get and in the order they get it.
Normally that's dirty 4 that like breaks every. And also, Jess, this is also something that I'm going to do this season because you said it, and like this is one of those things in the game where it really hit hard for me, because then I realized after looking back, like I always get sucked into the rabbit hole of dirty 4, and then literally being stuck there for a week, when in all reality it's like, no, don't get stuck in 4 you pretty much want to go from 3 to 5. So this is also why I don't want to stray too far off the path in 4. I pretty much want to get into 3, make my way to 4, and then as fast as I can get to 5. I really don't want to get stuck in a dirty 4 meta.
Oh yeah, and if you look at the 4 deck for this season, it's very reminiscent of the 4 deck it was the 4 deck. I can't remember how long ago it was. I think it was like 37. Might have been whatever the last 4-week season before this was. The 4 deck that everybody hated, that nobody could get ERs.
I think it was 37.
Very reminiscent. It's very reminiscent of that deck at 4 and so it's going to be a nightmare, especially with the people that get to 5 and can get extra shock launchers, extra RLs, extra shock blasters. It's going to end up being a nightmare. So that's why, like you said, grab it and go. Right? So, just get what you need and run.
I'm quoting you, man, because this is what I learned from you after watching your videos from last season as well. Is you were smart last season, Jess. You didn't get invested in 4 you either saw what it was going to become, or just didn't want to get involved with the mess at all. So I remember you saying just don't get involved with 4, pretty much go right to 5, not as fast as you can, but try to aim and stay on path to 5 as quick as possible. Because the dirty 4, once, like you said, we see all the rocket launchers, the 4 shock launchers. Again, this is another 4 shock launcher season, so it's going to get pretty nasty.
And 5 rocket launchers.
I'm so sorry.
4 shock launchers, 5 rocket launchers potentially this season. But to have 5 rocket launchers, you're going to have to give up the 2 boom cannons.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, 5 is going to be a mess, because once you get artillery at 5 once you get that artillery, you have to choose between either Seekers or Warriors. Warriors won't be helpful at all, and Seekers might be in some tri-meta.
Can I just point out that the Seekers are actually cheaper than the Warriors? Seekers, I believe, are 34, which is crazy, absolutely crazy.
Just very quickly, coming back to that 4 deck, I know you can't see it, Jess, but I've put up on screen the 4 deck with the meta that I was think you're talking about a couple of seasons ago, where the X's are the engine rooms, and then we had one line of defense running straight up the middle to kind of like 3 areas of clustered defenses in front of the engine rooms, with a couple of flanking defenses, boom cannons and rocket launchers either side. That's the one that you're talking about, I believe.
Yeah, and it was completely horrible. Nobody could get an ER, even with Kavan and rifles, which is what we'll have this season. So yeah, it's gonna get pretty nasty pretty quick, and just trying to get ahead of that. You don't have to race ahead, but just staying in front of that filthy meta will do you good. I mean, I didn't even unlock RLs, Kavan, or shock mines last season.
There's a lot of players that got by without rocket launchers last season, which it blew my mind. I'm like, how?
Yeah. Well, it was just such an investment, and I was trying to stay ahead of everybody. Well, not ahead, but I was trying to stay ahead of all the filthy stuff. And so, yeah, I may do. I mean, obviously, I'm getting RLs this season, but on those 4-week seasons, you have to have kind of a give and take that you don't have to have on 3-week seasons, where you can kind of just unlock everything on 3 weeks. Not everything, please. Do not unlock everything, but you can unlock what you want.
Captain Blackadder just saying there, I think that 4 that we were talking about had 6 rocket launchers. I think it was the 6 rocket launcher season. And there was also a deck area. There was also a deck area kind of up here as well, wasn't there? All of this. Oh, where's that going? All of this area here. was all deck as well, if I remember rightly. So it had a slightly bigger area to pull the stuff off to the side as well.
Yeah, there wasn't that left, it was rough. I can't see the screen.
No, I appreciate that.
It was the same season where I was using bullet to get out like way in front and taunt and use the rifles and bombers. But yeah, it was nasty. I shared a picture of it somewhere, but yeah, it was rough. I think 4ER and I think 3ER this season is gonna get nasty, especially once you get the mortars. The picture I shared with you, Martin, where you can kind of see the D. It's gonna get nasty.
Is that the one you shared in Sugar Ship Telegram earlier today? Did you Photoshop that entire thing?
Yeah.
I was like, damn, this looks good.
that one there.
Yeah, I used Canva.
So that was the three. That was the 3ER that.
Yeah, this thing looks insane, man. I was like, wait a minute, this is my screenshot, but I didn't build this.
Yeah. I just used Canva
I noticed the screenshot right away, but then I'm like, yo, this is a filthy base, man.
I mean, obviously things are a little bit off scale, but you know, it's pretty good for.
It's like 99%. It's spot on. But yeah, if this is what Dirty 3 is going to look like, ladies and gentlemen, say your prayers now. Like, because think about it. You got to use your shocks right off the bat, unless you're doing the China flare to give your bombas or your grens the distance on the ramp, that separation from the defenses. So you're going to have to be shocking right away the beach defenses, which then opens up the rocket launchers, most likely to be in range of those troops. This is going to be interesting to manage.
Yeah, and that's without the 2 extra cannons you get right before RLs. It's out without the shock mines, without the proto, and without the mortars, all of which you can still get in 3ER. So it's more D than deck, really.
More D than deck.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. So, you know, it's going to be quite filthy.
So
it is, absolutely.
The 4ER that we were talking about is this one here. As like a rotation. So imagine that layout, but rotated through 90 degrees. So it would be that style of base. That's the one that we were talking about.
Yeah, rough.
Yeah,
and that's why you just, I mean, you know, sometimes you have to get in.
No China flare. There's no flares available. I have to correct myself. Thank you, Captain Blackadder. I was a dummy right there. There's no flares for 3ER, so no, we're not going to be able to China flare. Thank you, Captain Blackadder.
No, that's
you guys.
Yeah.
I had to correct my. Whoa, yeah, I remember this. This was not fun.
Yeah, the delay drops this season are going to be prevalent early and often on that 3ER deck, because you're going to send some left, and then once they clear far enough left, you're going to delay them right. It's going to... That's how we'll have to do it.
Imagine max rocket launchers on that deck as well. That's what I'm thinking about. Max rocket launchers, 7 cannons. All right, my machine guns...
Your cannons are going to be tick 1. You're going to have tick 1 cannons. No, I'm joking. But you'll have, like, what, tick 3?
Yeah, potentially tick. I think I can go tick 4 if I really, the last thing I need to do now is just play around with the numbers on that account and see how I can get.
Because you might not need max. You know, you can go tick 1 on shock bomb. I mean, because really, if mechs are just a meat shield, how far do you really need to upgrade them? I'm
glad you brought that up, because that's exactly what I wanted to touch on as well. When we do get to the mechs, you know, they're going to be relied on more as a meat shield than they are on for DPS. So no, I don't think players are going to be maxing them. At most, probably tick 3. Because you're going to be relying on your bombas. Mechs are just going to be too slow. You know, bombas, you know, they'll cover more ground. Plus, they fire at a much longer range. So yeah, I don't know, Martin. What do you think?
I mean, I'm not planning on putting any love into my mechs. I'm just going to have a look now. Mechs are 768,000 to max. Tick 3 is going to cost you 300,000. A shade over 300. Shade over 300. Oh no, a shade under 300,000.
I don't know if Scully did or not. Skull might have used warriors during this season, but Shish season 31. At the beginning, it was Mech Bomber or Warrior. I'm pretty sure Skull went Warrior, but somewhere out there in the YouTube verse, there is hits of Mech Bomber. As it relates to Warships.
I think I've seen that one, but I do recall that season using Warriors as well, because it's been very rare now that Warriors have been able to shine. And again,
just because were good.
Just because damn straight they were. Yeah, I love using Warriors and Warships. But just because Warriors are on the topic right now, again, I don't like, this is something that I don't like about this season, is again, Warriors are tucked far away into 5-engine room there, which, you know, is going to render them absolutely useless. Unfortunately, the only time Warriors shine in Warships is when they are either your starting troop or just an early troop to use before, you know, the heavy D really starts to make an impact. So again, this is going to be a Warrior-less season. Boo. But I mean, like, I am looking forward to Seekers.
Well, and then another thing, just as you were talking about Warriors being later on in the tree, the one thing I have liked, they didn't do it last season, but the 3 seasons before that, was when you get to that 6 ER area, everything's on verticals, so you don't have to get a lot of stuff. You can just skip it and go straight to 7. I actually really like the verticals that Supercell has started doing towards the end of the tree, so that you don't have to get a bunch of like nonsense.
Yeah, these here that Jess. I like this back here in 5ER. This square here, I'm a big fan of this. Deciding which way round, you know. Do you get Warriors? Do you get Seekers? Obviously, Seekers get you closer to the Shock Blaster. Warriors take you closer to the 2 shock launchers. I really like that. That kind of like that decision as to which way round. Ultimately, you're going to end up with both. But what do you delay getting the Shock Blaster, or do you delay getting the 2 shock launchers? I think I would rather get the 2 shock launchers early, but that means not getting the Seekers. So there's a huge decision to be made there as well.
That's a really good point, Martin. And this comes down to a perfect reason why we love Warships so much, because this is going to be one of those decisions, because this will be mid-season, if anything, past mid-season by the time you get to this point, which by that point in the season, all of you, me, Jess, Martin, Pete watching, Aaron, we're all going to be at different points in the game, which means Seekers might be the answer for me, whereas for Martin, more defense, 2 shock launchers might be the answer for him. So it's going to be a matter of where we are at in the game when we get to this point on the tech tree. So yeah, it's fun to think about, but I mean, it's really, really hard to figure out which way is correct.
Well, and
I don't think there is a correct answer. I think it just depends on preference of play and where you are.
I think a lot of it will depend on the meta at the time, because at this point now, we've got 1 TD, we've got 2 TD. You've probably gone back for TH. If you haven't, and the Rocket Chopper players will have that TH. What you've got now, you've got a scenario now with only 1 DBD on and again, you've got that same square here. Do you get the DBD? I think most players will come this way round, through the DBD to the artillery, through the TD to the artillery rather than the DBD. So by the time you get down here to 6ER, Rocket Chopper players are going to have Sparky, they're going to have Smoke, they're going to have Shocks, they're going to have all the tools they need. And on that bigger 5ER deck, I could still see Rocket Choppers dominating, potentially. So grabbing the Shock Blaster might actually be the better plan there, because obviously the shock launcher is going to do nothing. You have got 2 cannons up there on that node as well, but the shock launchers aren't going to stop the rocket choppers. So
no, they're not.
how long are those just rocket chop? Well, I mean, once HC's come online, then HCRC is going to be viable all day long. But
yeah, I think HCRC will be the meta in 6CR once people get HCs, until we get the BH.
Somewhere in this sort of section here, you kind of got a fancy that rocket choppers will become less viable as people backfill and pick up the odd, the odd cannon nodes here, 2 more boom cannons there, and then obviously once the heavy choppers are on board, then the rocket choppers are viable again. So I think that rocket choppers could well be underestimated this season by a lot of people. I think they could end up being very strong. Then we're off up into 6ER, which
that's going to be exciting. Again, I don't know what it is with heavy chopper and 6CR. Is this just going to be? Has this just become the norm with warships now?
That's
heavy chopper.
I would rather get them early. I mean, people are going to use them anyways. Might as well have them early or mid game. I mean, if it's going to be the final meta every season anyways, like, might as well knock it out.
Unless Boom Beach is doing like a themed season, like To the Skies or something air related, it's very, very rare for us to see heavy choppers prior to 6th Engine Room. I think a few seasons ago we had them in 5, which was a nice change to see. But yeah, it's always 6.
I think when you see them
or
down
either right past 7 for some reason.
Sometimes they've done that too. Yeah.
When you see them down in 4ER, then heavy chopper rush. They generally put the heavies with the heavy choppers so that you've got maxed heavies by the time you get your heavy choppers. And if they're down in 4ER, then heavy chopper rush just becomes and I think so many people have complained about heavy rush, heavy chopper rush, that they've split the two and said, there they are in 6. If you want them, you're going to have to. I'd like to see them switched for one season. So we'd have the heavy chopper here, but leave the heavies until up here. So they become a lot less powerful, don't they? If they're only dropping tick 1 heavies, a heavy chopper becomes a lot less powerful.
That's actually a really good point. That's a good way to look at it. I'd love to see something like that implemented.
I mean, effectively, it's a flying scorcher, isn't
it? Pretty much, yeah. Goldfish in the sky.
Yeah. That's
except they don't explode on you. I mean, but besides that, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so without the strength of the heavy bus is the heavies that fall out of it, not the actual bus. I mean, the bus is pretty strong, but it doesn't have.
No, I mean you are right though, Martin. It comes down to the heavies that are being pooped out of it. I know we like to joke about that, and then of course when the chopper goes down, the additional 6 heavies that that come from it. So what is it? So they drop 6, and then they 6 more come from it when they or do they drop 8? Is it so? It's pretty much like 14 heavies per heavy chopper, or is my math off on this? If I'm off, please tell me.
I thought it was 8 and 6, but yeah, it's it's a considerable amount that they drop out.
It's a stupid amount. Then you times that by 8. So let's say it is 14 heavies. 14 times 8. That's your heavies on the battlefield.
96 heavies on the battlefield.
If your heavies are maxed, that's your damage right there. So 100%, Martin. We're using heavy choppers for the heavies being pooped out from it, not from the actual damage from the choppers.
Yeah, like Gren said, in that case, you just use them as a meat shield.
But you'll see people heavy chopper rush this season just because you have smoke, you have art, you have barrage. You'll have 100 TD and 50 BH before we get to 7. With the deck at 6, you'll definitely see people heavy bust.
Oh yeah, without a shadow.
We're gonna see.
I'm against it. I feel dirty doing it. So I just don't do it. But
I feel dirty doing it.
But you will see people do it. So it'll be a meta.
So if heavy bust rush was the meta to the legendary, would you take it?
Yes. If it was my ticket to legendary, of course.
The question:
if Bus Rush is viable, then that means that HC/RC is viable as well. And I would much rather use 1 HC 7 RC, so at least I feel skillful on the inside than I would be to do 8 buses.
Fair enough.
I mean, I guess it would depend. If everybody was doing it, then it would be one thing. But I just
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
I have nothing wrong with people that do it. I just think I guess there is some instances where it can be skillful, but for the most part, just dropping troops and clicking flare is not as skillful, and so yeah, I guess it just depends. I'll leave it at
that's a good point, and I feel like we could have a whole stream over, is bus rush skill or is it noob? It's a noob. Okay, it's a noob attack, but it's a skillful strategy, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it depends on where it is in the tree. And the deck, with 4 shock launchers and a sky shield, there will be skill involved, but it all depends on what's on the deck at the time. I mean, if you're just, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Gren's Blackheart is a pro at heavy chopper, nothing else, just HC. He does like his heavy chopper.
So when we get here, we've got another one of those squares, haven't we? Which way do you go from heavy choppers to 7 ER? Now, I think obviously the thumbnail for this season featured the Shockeneers up here and the Lasertrons down here. And I think once again we are going to recommend to not get the Lasertrons. So the two
exactly what.
So let's talk about exactly why it's not a good idea to get them.
Well, first of all, what Skull said for the Shockeneers, in my opinion, applies to the Lasertrons because you can only get one. You only get one Lasertron per boat. You don't get 2, and I just think the same applies. They do DPS, but it's not the same as main island. So your idea of the Lasertron is not going to be the Lasertron you get in Warships.
No.
And plus, there's going to be so many other troops that are that much more effective. There's going to be metas that are... The Lasertron meta is not going to be a thing. Like, heavy chopper, bomba, seeker, heavy chopper, seeker, rocket chopper, heavy chopper. It's not going to be Lasertron bomba. Let's be real here. So with the Lasertron being right before 7 engine room as well, and with the heavy chopper already being unlocked prior to the Lasertron, personally, I think it's a massive key vacuum, and you're just going to regret holding yourself back from 7 ER that much faster. Even though it is on the path to 7, but you've got a freaking multi-node right there, a proto multi-node with the only sky shield. So that's the one that you want.
That for me is like the real reason to not go with the Lasertrons is the fact that your only sky shield is just here.
Not just that. I almost kind of pissed off that Supercell put it there to begin with, because when you put it right there to begin with, in my opinion, no logical person is going to unlock it besides some brand new player. So then you've put it there for a brand new player to unlock, or mistakenly unlock, or unlock not knowing any better, and use their keys up. I just... There's no, if it was at the beginning of the tree, maybe you could make an argument for it, but right there's no logical argument to have it.
If they swap the Shockeneer and the Lasertron, I could totally see that.
Especially in 2
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually think the right swap is here. I think Bombardiers for Lasertrons would have been a much better swap.
Actually, no. Then the community would have hated then, with bombas being so far back.
I think people would have quit the game if the only options were Grins or Lasertrons for the first 2 and 3 ER gameplay.
I don't know. That sounds. I'm going to use the word exotic here. That sounds like a pretty exotic meta. Grenadiers and Lasertrons.
You would also have had the buffed mechs there as well.
Ooh. Oh, that sounds like me beating my head against a wall. I mean, that's just the way I play, though. I remember the last time we had to do that in the tank season at 4ER. There was a front loaded, and the only options were Tank Grin. And I remember Tank Grin being a viable meta at that point in the season. and it was just brutal. I mean, not that it wasn't enjoyable, it was just exhausting to hit bases with tanks and grins at like 4 and 5 ER.
Polly's just said about swapping the mechs with the Lasertrons. Could have been
that would have been okay. I mean, it's too late now, but looking at the tech tree, I mean, that looks like a pretty good idea. At least to get more players using the Lasertron. Like the whole point that we're making with these swaps right here is the fact that where the Lasertron is placed on the tech tree right now, it makes it very ineffective. Like nobody's going to be using it because of how far out of the way it is and how many other better troops you're going to have prior to the Lasertron. So
similar to the Warrior.
Exactly. It's a damn shame just to see it, literally sit in the corner there for the entirety of the season with no love.
Mm-hmm. So then after 7, it's pretty much just a straight walk round to building health, pick up this final proto node, and then start backfilling, isn't it?
So what's the most, once you get the Gunboat energy and once you pick up your proto node there, of course, Doom Cannon 3, I believe, is the no-brainer. I mean, somebody could get something else there. But, is it going to be your troop health, or are you going to branch back down for your mine node there, to go to your building health? What's the more important, pretty much what I'm getting at is troop health or building health at this point in 7 ER. What's more important?
I would say you're going to look at building health first.
Okay, yeah.
So the path in 7 is going to be GBE 3. By then, you would have had to have picked up your GBE 2. You will have had to have picked up your GBE 1. So there's GBE 2, there's GBE 1. So by now, you've now got 150% GBE. From there, like you said, it's almost certainly going to be the Doom Cannon 3. And then I will pay the mine tax and go straight to building health. And then it'll be a question of, well, do you come down here for the damage amp 3 or the second Doom Cannon 3? And then do you look to go back and backfill some of those nodes? Do you pick up the true health next? And if you're going back to backfill, where are you going to backfill? Well, you almost certainly be DBD 2, because this will have been the path to this point. So DBD 2 will be something that you look to pick up. Then it will be either this combination or this combination, depending on which way round this square you came. DBD 1 is also sat there, so potentially you could be going into 7ER with no DBD whatsoever. HCRC players might decide to peel off and get Bullet, although I think it's sort of universally agreed. We got a Fritz sighting in the chat. Just want to give a big shout out to Fritz, who has just popped up. Is that Fritz?
I'm so happy you said that. I didn't want to interrupt you, because you were making some excellent points on the tech tree there.
Yeah, but it's Fritz, man.
Fritz, exactly. That's what I wanted to say. Hi to Fritz too. Fritz, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you.
Great to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. DBD. Potentially you'll be at 7 without any DBD, which again is going to really help the rocket chopper players. So we might have peeled off to grab a DBD before then to sort of try and stem the tide of rocket chopper players. And then coming back further, I think most of sort of what's back here, there's not going to be too much to backfill on. Potentially this troop health 1 node if you've come round this top path. Shock mines will be another one, paying the Shockinier tax to get the shock mines. So that's what makes the tree cheaper, is there won't be too much to backfill once you hit that 7ER.
And that's a good way to break it down too, because of course, once you do finish the tech tree and make your way to 7ER, and that's the number one question on most people's minds. It's like, what do I backfill? Well, I mean, there's not going to be that much to backfill for. So, with this being a 3-week season, by the time we get to gold, I believe is it 20 keys per chest?
20 keys per chest of gold.
Diamond's 25. Yeah. I know leg is 30. So, you're going to be accumulating keys at a pretty rapid pace. Like, this is another bonus.
Mesa coming in with a £50 donation.
Macer, buddy.
Big
Cheers.
shout out to you, Macer. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated.
Drop a Macer command.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
really appreciate that, Macer.
Chat, I would drop a Macer command, but I'm not.
By the way, I have to let the people know in the chat right now. Like, I mean, I'm watching the stream. I'm about 10 seconds behind. There's no screen sharing going on right now, so like Jess isn't even watching the stream, and or of course screen sharing because he's not watching the stream. Which means, you know, Jess, you've done an excellent job, pretty much keeping up on par, you know, with the conversations and everything, considering you're not even watching the stream at all. So, yo, cheers to you, man.
Right. But yeah, no, I didn't know if anybody had any questions for all of us, but I was also going to cover, please nobody get that my node past critters. Please don't get it.
This one, that should be your very last backfill node when you've got nothing else to spend your tokens on, and it's the very last thing left on the tree.
No, I try to caution people on this. There's just certain things you don't need. Now, if you're going top path, there's no reason for you to get smokes, medic, or troop health day one. If you're going that top path to RLs, there's no reason to really get it, you know, even until after 4 ER. So don't unlock those things that you don't need. I know people think they need to unlock everything. I knew one guy that was in one of the smaller task forces in Sugar Ship. He would unlock everything in 2 ER, everything in 3 ER, everything in 4 ER before moving forward. And it's just not a viable way to play.
Okay, it's funny you mentioned that because some people just play like that, and it could just be like built or wired into them, because there's been multiple you know, games where I'm trying to remember some here. I want to use Boom Beach as an example, because when I first started playing Boom Beach, I was meticulous with making sure that I had every single building in defense upgraded to the max level before I would upgrade my headquarters. And I'm literally just thinking of that same concept being applied to the tech tree, where it's like, no, I've got to unlock everything before I go to the next ER. You know, Jess is right. You don't have to do that. But I mean, some players, I don't know if it's OCD or whatever it may be, but they just feel compelled to unlock everything where it's not necessary. So yeah, very good point, Jess.
Yeah, that and multi-nodes. Like last season, there was a bunch of multi-nodes, and everybody thinks that they need to upload or get every multi-node. And I'm telling you, moving forward in the tree is so much better than unlocking 2 extra flamethrowers. Like if it's on path, by all means, unlock it. But if it's not on path, avoid it like the plague, unless it is like a boom cannon or 2 shock launchers. Just don't get it. Act like it's not there. Mark it out with an X. Do whatever you need to do. Do not get it. You will save those 30 keys, and those 30 keys will give you, you know, an extra 30 keys ahead towards heavy choppers and put you that much further ahead. Unless you see everybody and their mother getting the multi-node, do not get it.
There you go, guys. Another very good point to remember.
Just very quick.
I remember last season, one guy unlocked every single multi-node before he got out of 5 ER, and I'm like, man, like, he's like, I have no keys to go towards RLs or towards building health while everybody else was already in 6 ER, and I was like, man, you unlocked every multi-node there is. Like, you don't need to do that.
It's like, yeah, have fun with your 2 extra snipers and 3 extra flamethrowers. No.
Yeah, or your 2 extra mortars. And you know what? Sometimes they're valuable.
You're right. Yes.
But for the most part, you're unlocking that. And when you're unlocking that, you're missing out on something else that's more valuable.
So what do we think of this 7 ER deck? Because I'm not sure.
2 ramps. 2 ramps is the first thing that comes to mind, because if I'm not correct, was the not last
2 full ramps?
Isn't 7 ER always 1 ramp?
Besides, there was one season that I really hated that had 2 ramps. But
I think we've had it before where we've kind of like had this much blocked off.
Looking at this 7 ER, like if you were to just take away the massive right ramp there, this would be identical to season 39.
Last season, yeah.
Well, 39 and last season.
All they've done is just open up the right side there. But then again, opening up the right side, it puts the favor offensively. If you're attacking this layout, it puts you in a better spot opposed to blocking it off, which then it puts the favor back in the defensive side because there's only one way to attack. So opening up this layout like this, personally, you've really taken away the front-loaded compact, which is a big part of Dirty 6 and Dirty 7. So yeah, I don't know yet. I mean, I think it's going to be a spread out base, almost like a spread out snake base, pretty much what we saw for season 39. But still, having that massive open ramp right there it's going to completely change the dynamics of 7ER.
The problem with that deck is that it almost makes bombers like have to be the final meta, if not like a tri-meta. That deck is so wide open that it allows for you to like drop 2 heavy choppers and 2 bombers on the left, and then drop 2 heavy choppers and 2 bombers on the right, and it allows you to attack almost all sides of the base at once using that. And so by default, instead of having like a creative deck with like holes missing or weird angles, we just have that, and so it almost makes bombers like have to be the final meta, I believe.
Good point, and I think Pete just nailed it right here. It'll be who has the best hit wins at 7. I agree. I think that the offensive hit is going to mean much more than a good layout for 7 because of just how open and exposed that 7ER deck is.
I think you might even see some kind of hybrid quad meta. Featuring Seekers, rocket choppers, heavy choppers, bombardiers, everything.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be a big snake because, I mean, people can't do the U because it's only one ramp, so it'll end up being a snake base more than likely with arms. A snake with arms, probably.
Snake with arms. Oh, a lizard. Good old lizard base. No.
Yeah, it just we've got to get more creative. We've got to get. I mean, because right now, the metas in Boom Beach seem to either be front compact snake based or an upside down horseshoe. So
that's pretty much it. And then you've got like the Doom Cannon or a couple of the rocket launchers in the middle of that upside down horseshoe base. It's actually quite predictable now. What the defensive layout is going to be for the deck layout. So, but this 7 makes things interesting.
It will definitely be different, but especially right there in the corner where the 2 decks, where the 2 ramps merge. Seeing how people use that space as a part of their defense will go a long way to kind of defining the meta for the deck.
It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, whoever gets the 7ER first, I guess we'll figure it out. I mean, Doom or most likely Stoneheart, will probably be the guinea pigs for 7. It's weird calling them guinea pigs, knowing that they'll hit 7 first and still just beat everybody. But then they'll tell us what it's like attacking 7.
It's crazy because I was talking to it. I think I was talking to Macer about it. And I know I've talked to Martin and Stoneheart about it. But you got to think, last season, people that finished in the top 250 or 300 are now top 50 players because you've eliminated. I imagine probably a good 250 or 200 of the top 300 last season were probably Chinese players, and so you eliminate
top 500 then. No.
Yeah, it's going to be a wide open. I think you'll see players this season that have never gotten top 500 easily get top 500.
And again, with our unfortunate server split here. I know a few people were asking in the beginning of the stream here. I saw some comments coming in with how that's going to affect Warships, and again, we're really not going to know. At least on the first day, it's probably you're not going to notice it because of such the high player volume of just first day Warship excitement. Once we get into the second and of course the third week, I think that's when we're really going to start to feel that impact of the Chinese players not being on our server anymore. it's rare that I find myself waiting in queue for a very long time. I'm sure we'll hear it from Doom, Stoneheart, Big Bear Ball, or even you, Jess, Cobra Bomber, what it's like when you guys, get to the second or third week, you're battling High Diamond, going into Legendary, and, for all we know, you could be waiting in queue for ages. All the people going into battle, or, probably are all the people in the same TF. And of course, you don't match your TF members, so I don't know. I really don't know.
I think the problem you'll run into is that lack of star inflation, because now, instead of facing a ton of people ahead of you, there's not going to be as many people ahead of you for you to get those extra stars. So now when you're ranking up, you're going to face significantly more people that are below you. So you'll get less, points as you go up for each win. And by the same standards, you'll lose more. So say you're ranked 24, you're pushing for 25, but all you keep matching are ranked 21 and 22 players. You're going to lose significantly more than you win when you do win, and so it's just going to be rough.
We touched on that yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah.
Skull?
Those points, when you get to that point, that's going to be rough. Being a higher rank level player, not having enough higher ranked players to match, the queue just matching you with lower ranked players, just so you can get your match. And then again, being at a handicap, I know it sounds weird being the higher level player saying you're at the handicap, but if you lose to those lower level players, that's a bigger chunk of the start loss. So instead of losing 8, 9, or 10, you're going to lose 12, 13. I've even lost 14 before. Yeah.
So
it hits hard. You lose 2 or 3 of those in a row, and you've literally got to win. You've got to win 4 battles just to get back 3 losses.
So that's how I think. I mean, and that's how leg pushes normally are. Your leg pushes, they're rough.
To use that analogy, like the race analogy about warships being a marathon, not a sprint, it kind of makes it like a more of a middle distance where you kind of want to plod along just ahead of the peloton now, and then strike for home in that in that final week once, because if you're too far ahead, that's kind of going to penalize you, isn't it?
For this season, with the server split, yeah, I think it is.
Until we hook the Chinese up with more VPNs, definitely. It will be that way.
What Martin forgot to tell you is that every dollar donated on today's stream will buy a VPN for our Chinese character friends. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Help migrate them back over to the global. Yeah.
Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. I know this is not a laughing matter, but yeah, I totally, guys, totally.
Well, that, and then, I mean, all you have to do is look over to our Supercell brethren in Clash of Clans. They actually make money on Clash of Clans, and I don't think they've still fixed their Chinese server issue. So, I mean, what does that mean for Boom Beach, where, they probably, they don't do ads for Boom Beach anymore like they do for Clash. I see a Clash advertisement like every other YouTube video.
Yeah, same here, man. They pay a lot for YouTube advertisement. Let's be real here.
So Moist Toast.
Yeah, just not for Boom Beach.
Exactly.
Moist Toast asking stupid question. No, it's not a stupid question if you don't know the answer. Lots of Chinese on the US leaderboard. Won't they still be there? Yeah, probably.
Yes, because they actually live there.
Mike Wells has just said, not all Chinese players live in China. A lot of Asia users are similar writing. Yeah, that was something that I said yesterday on Boom Talk. There's a lot of people that we put down as being CCF, to coin a phrase, who aren't actually Chinese. The Japanese, the Koreans, Thai, a lot of those, the language, the characters that they use in their writing all looks very similar. So we kind of, in the West, just unilaterally go, oh, it's Chinese. So there's a lot of players that will still be on the global leaderboard, and like you've just pointed out, obviously I would imagine outside of China that America probably has the largest Chinese population. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
I would have thought Australia is pretty big as
US population is loaded.
I would have thought Australia is pretty big as well due to the location of
proximity.
China. Proximity, that's the word. Thank you very much, Jess. But yeah, so I think that there will still be a high number of Chinese players on the global leaderboard, and I do wonder exactly how much of a difference it is going to make for us. I honestly believe that it is going to be a lot worse for legitimate Chinese players in China than it will be for those of us,
for us.
This side of the Great Wall, shall we say.
Kind of like first world problems for us.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
I think it might be. I think when this season's done and we sit here in 3 weeks' time and do like an overview of what the season's been, what we've had in the season and how it's been, I think that I hope that one of the topics that comes up will be, well, the queue times weren't as bad as what we were thinking.
That would actually be really refreshing to be able to have that conversation in about 3 weeks.
And one thing I just wanted to bring up just really quickly while we're on just the topic of the server split and stuff like that. All Chinese players do not cheat. I know a lot of people push that narrative, and it is completely false. In fact, I prefer playing Chinese players because they have amazing etiquette, and that's one thing that's going to be lost with this server split is the etiquette. When Chinese players play, they play efficiently. If they tell they're gonna lose, they'll retreat immediately. They have really good etiquette, whereas not everybody, but other people on the global leaderboard don't have this great etiquette.
I just want to touch on something really important here because Ashley O also brings up a good point. I just want to clarify the whole, Chinese character friend thing here. So Ashley O does say that the characters, don't look similar, to be honest here. Even if you compare the katakana and hiragana, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, character set from the Japanese language, the letters have a distinct style, which makes it easy to tell apart. So you are right. So first off, Ashley, Chinese character friend is a term, I couldn't even tell you what season of Warships that I used it in, but was to just describe, a Chinese player that obviously I couldn't speak Chinese, so it was just the easiest way to describe that player. And of course, with regards to Korean, Japanese, Chinese, they are all actually distinct. Like, I'm not an idiot and I'm not racist here, so I do know the difference from, looking at a Chinese character from, Japanese to Korean. They are all slightly different. It's just with Boom Beach, there just happens to be more Chinese players than there are, let's say, Japanese or Korean. So the Chinese character friends you just happen to see a lot more frequent and often than our other, Asian counterpart friends as well. So when I do match a Korean player or a Japanese player, and if it is in their native writing or whatever it may be, I'll make the comment of a Japanese character friend or a Korean character friend. So again, Chinese character friend just has to do with the fact that there are just more Chinese players and more Chinese character names in the game than almost any other any other Asian language, I guess is what I'm trying to say here.
Like when you see
the Chinese. Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you, Bull. I'm sorry.
So I was just going to say, it's like when you see the text from not from the Far East, from the Middle East. So like Arabic and all of the different variations of the language from that part of the world is very difficult to tell. For me, it's very difficult to tell.
Differentiate between
Jordanian and Saudi Arabian and Iraq. There is a.
And so you just go Arabic when it might not necessarily be exactly Arabic, but you're just trying to generalize without offending anyone or anything like that.
In the heat of streaming, you kind of just want to give props to that player as quickly as possible without offending anybody.
When you're live and you're not thinking about it, absolutely, Martin. Something could slip out, without even realizing it. So that's why finding the safest, I guess, politically correctest way to say it. Again, it's not like you're trying to sit here and offend everybody, but it's just
no, not at all.
Exactly, yeah.
The Chinese demographic and that Arabic demographic, that North Africa and then Chinese, those two demographics are the biggest demographics on Boom Beach. So it's not like anybody's going out of their way to try and offend anybody. If anything, trying to compliment them and do so in to generalize so that you don't offend someone.
Like I was watching Zedmod's videos the other day about the Chinese server split there, and like he was making a funny joke with regards to how most Chinese character friends, when they're playing an English name or an Anglo-Saxon name or whatever it may be, they have no idea what they're looking at. For all we know, we're Squiggles McGee or something to them,
Yeah, I saw
so I chuckled at that.
So we're coming up to the 2-hour mark now, and I don't really want to let this run much over 2 hours. So really, I kind of want to throw it open.
We're up at 2 hours already?
Nearly coming up to.
Wow.
Want to throw it open to chat if anybody's got any questions that they want us to go over, if there's any numbers you want punched into the calculator, anything at all. You've seen the tools that I'm using here this evening, so if there's anything that anyone wants to know, then now is your time to speak up in the chat.
Again, we're ending this topic of conversation, but just to McLovin and Kegmeister, it was just in response to Ashley's comment there. So anyways, guys, we're moving on now from it.
Kegs nailed it. That's what I tried to do, Keg, is rather than offend nobody, I just try and offend everybody.
Grenz 101 does ask, is there any reason to go 7ER?
The deck's significantly bigger, and the BH is huge. The 100 BH is game-changing. It's a game-changing node. HCRC, I think, will be prevalent in the backstage of 6ER once you get the heavy chopper. But that 7ER with the bigger deck, both ramps, even though offense will be better, that BH will drastically slow down times.
There you go, Grenz.
So, there's the difference between the 6 and the 7 deck. And to bring the tree, where's the tree? This tree. Bring the tree up.
Plus, as a bonus, you get the 2 extra Frodos.
Yeah, so
and plus that's both Doom Cannon 3s are available after 7ER. So if you plan on wanting not 1 but 2 Doom Cannon 3s, then 7ER is the way to go.
You've got 2 GBE nodes there in 7ER as well this time. And
that's right. Like it's a 200% GBE season, and they've literally given you 100% of it in 7ER. I like how
they backloaded it as well. They backloaded the GBE significantly for the season, whereas you get the 1 and 3 and then I think the rest are in 6 and 7ER for the entire season. So you don't get it all immediately.
Captain Blackadder says ball 21.20, please. 21.20.
You can get to RLs and the green mines and the cannons with 4/4.
That will give you an 11 start, which will give you 194 keys. Jess, where will that get him?
I think that gets you straight to RLs and then green mines and cannons with your 4/4. You can get green mines, cannons, and RLs at 21.2. You'll be right there at it. Plus, I mean, if Supercell, messes up and gives you some extra keys, you could be in the plus there.
Well, that's something that we haven't touched on, and maybe we should just very quickly, that there is a possibility that the delay to this season might result in a gesture from Supercell. Don't bank on it. Wouldn't hold your breath on it. Certainly don't put your mortgage on it. But there's a possibility. Yeah,
and that's what I've said since the beginning. Is I think with the 2-week delay, I think they'll give you something. I just don't think they'll give you the whole cake.
Red Dog Boom. Will that calculator produce a new iPad to play on? No, I'm sorry, it won't. But it does run on old iPads. Can't believe one comment caused this much wokeness. Yeah, welcome to 2022, McLovin. First and foremost, will Warships cause crashing on my old iPad like the snow bases do?
It should be fixed. I thought the update is what fixed the crashes.
Yeah, in the notes it does say that, doesn't it? But
I mean, that's what it says. I was just, just going
the
off what
answer
they
to
say.
that is we don't know. The answer to that is we will find out in approximately 10 hours now.
Is that where we're at for the countdown? I gotta look in my game.
Think we're.
And if you have an iPad and it's crashing a whole bunch, please spam the Boom Beach thing so they give us free keys and us Android players will just keep moving ahead.
Yeah,
You heard the man.
That would be my answer. Is switch to Android, but did I see?
Well,
Fritz?
It's funny you mentioned that though, because I can those same bases that I'm crashing on my iPad, I can attack perfectly on my Samsung S22. So yeah, it's definitely iOS players. Yeah, give them hell.
I've got
the only. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. I was going to say the only bug I've seen personally with my Android is that it gives me 1,000 offers in the shop and like shows that I have IT times like 5 different individual ITs, 5 different individual like extra builders, and I just turn my deals off. So, I mean, they don't ever give me any good deals anyways. So.
I've got to say, I've got an S21 Ultra and phone and an S7 Plus tablet, and I've had no issues on either. Fritz says, glad I caught you guys. Good luck out there on the seas this season, everyone. Hopefully we'll see you on the seas too, Fritz, and we'll be streaming a lot this season, so hopefully we get to see a bit more of you. Martini, seeing how dirty 3ER is going to be, can we clear with non-upgraded Grenadier bombers and Sparky? So thinking getting mechs after the first chest and then back for green mines and cannons. Thoughts? Seeing how dirty 3 are.
Yes, I agree.
Is going to be. Can we
probably end up running something like 3-5, like 3 mechs, 5 bombers? I know people are gonna say, excuse me. I know people are gonna say more bombers. But the deck is so small that you don't need like 6 boats or 7 boats of bombers to clear it efficiently. What you need is, 3 or 4 mechs, probably 3. So 3, 5, and then Sparky, and you'll be good to go.
Don't forget you've got shocks as well. We got shocks straight off the bat this season. So yeah, I mean, I was toying with the idea of throwing a boat of unupgraded grenadiers on just to try and take care of a few mines. So like 3 mechs, 4 bombers, and 1 boat of tick 1 grens, for no other reason than trying to clear a few more mines than Sparky's critters do, because like Jess just said, you won't need 5 bombers on that small deck will just be tripping over each other, blowing up, trying to blow up the same thing. So I have considered.
Speaking of blowing up, I was going to say Sparky's explosive charge, doesn't it clear mines in the immediate vicinity as well?
It does. Sparky's explosive charge does clear mines.
Also, speaking of blowing up.
Does friendly damage too.
Also, speaking of blowing up, pinned in the top of the chat there is Jess's YouTube channel. If you weren't here earlier, get yourself over there and blow his channel up. We need people over there subscribing to him.
I need to, if only I could be as produce as often as you guys do. Between you and you guys and Skull, you guys are constantly producing content. I'm gonna have to start trying to keep up.
You know what? If you can just upload even once a week, man, twice a week, it doesn't even really matter, man. It gets to a point, at least, daily content is just, you got to keep up with the hustle and the grind. Yeah. If you're not doing daily content, then, everyone else is just watching chicken that's doing daily content, right? So you got to keep the competition up.
No, man, it's a lot. I don't think people realize how much, daily content, and that's one thing I can always say for chicken, is like, at least like, man, that daily content is a killer. I mean, it's a lot,
It is. It is a lot of work. So, exactly. And that's one thing, not like this is turning into a freaking chicken stream now, but that's one thing that I do really respect about the guys is work ethic when it comes to YouTube. Very disciplined, very on schedule. And yeah, it takes a lot to be that routine. At least it's difficult for me to be that routinely disciplined on YouTube. So yeah, I recognize that when I see it.
So Polly's asked, so where will you guys be realistically with your tokens? Rocket launchers tick 3. So yeah, I would put in my donkey account on one side. You know what I'm doing with that. But my bull account, there you see, it's on screen now. Rocket launchers are tick 3.
Anything above tick 3 is useless at this point, honestly, because you don't have the DBD till later on. The DBD is what really makes the max rockets effective. I mean, they will be effective if you max them, but I mean, there's just so many other things that need tokens right off the jump that tick 3 is more than sufficient, unless you're just going to max them like Martin is on his fun account. On his fun account. But besides that, tick 3 is more than enough.
Yeah, my other defences, rocket launchers tick 3. My other defences, towers, cannons, machine guns, flamethrowers, there all tick 4 for the time being. That gets you the most amount of defences for your money. And then during the course of the season, when I find that I've got a few spare tokens kicking around, then I'll upgrade things. Sort of cannons will get upgraded first, and then probably flamethrowers, and then maybe I don't know what order I'll do it yet. But yeah,
priority upgrades. I will say a sneaky low key thing. I normally don't upgrade my sniper towers immediately, but sniper towers are great, especially with the meta we're going to be in, for flanking bombers. For the sniper towers, especially if you have them upgraded, they'll probably 3-shot bombers. But those flanking bombers that are off to the side and stuff like that, sniper towers might be low-key really good. I know some seasons they seem to have longer range than they do in other seasons, but I think they might be somewhat valuable this season.
All right, sorry, didn't want to interrupt you there, but again, we got OP joining us in the chat right now, fellas. Big shout out to Op Destroy.
Op, how you doing, my man? Hope's all good.
What's up?
Just going back, where was it? Zendo. Hopefully we get Moisto said, I wish they'd have given us a bunch of keys and tokens and had a 2-week season. I think a 2-week season would be fun. I think a 1-week season would be fun. I think throwing some of those wacky things in there would be awesome. But they do like to stick to their 28 or 35 day cycles. Now that includes the crab weekend. That's a cycle that kind of runs across all Supercell games. So I don't see those things unless they did some kind of crazy two-week seasons where we had a 4-week season, but then that would mean 2 tech trees. I just can't see that happening. But
yeah, probably not anytime soon.
Zendo says
unless they make Warships an independent game, which they're not going to do, even though I wish they would. But yeah, it's not going to happen.
Zendo asks, hopefully we get 3-week seasons because of the delay. So I've looked at the calendar and I think that this is how it's going to go. That this season obviously runs till the 27th of November, season 40. And then from the 2nd of December to the 4th of December, you'll see Proto Crab. And then from the 5th of December till the 25th of December. So the last day of the season or next
Christmas,
season.
It's going to be on Christmas
Day.
That's savage, man.
That is going to be absolutely savage. That would be season 41. That should have been a 4-week season, but I think it will now be a 3-week season, and that's where they'll peg the week back.
Me too, Pete. I want to see a 3-month season. Sorry.
The 30th of December to the 1st of January will be New Year's Crab. The 2nd of January to the 22nd of January will be season 42. And then we're back onto our normal cycle. That is based on nothing but looking at a calendar and applying a little bit of logic. I have no insight into what Supercell are thinking. I don't even know whether Scully, if they've released anything on Slack that suggests anything like that, or whether you're even allowed.
Even if they did, it's not like we would know. I mean, Nunu is on vacation this week. He's not even back until the when is it? The following Monday or whatever it is.
So just looking at a calendar and applying a little bit of logic, that's what I think is going to happen.
Well, the less amount of 4-week seasons we get, the better, in my opinion. I just think 4-week seasons, not only from a player perspective, but from a content creator perspective, 4-week seasons are absolutely horrible for everybody involved. And so I just think that 3-week seasons are the way to go, if at all possible, for everyone.
Seems to be that Goldilocks effect, right? Like, anything shorter would be, too quick. Anything longer would be too long. And then you get to that 3 weeks and it's kind of like just right. Like, you're not overdoing it, but you're not underdoing it. But again, I mean, Pete brought up a point about a 3-month season. Again, for any of the OG Warship players in the YouTube chat right now, Season 3 of Warships was a 3-month season. It was also the introduction of Bombardiers. I'm not saying that I would like a new troop introduced for a 3-month season, but I think an epic marathon of a season would be pretty fun to get back into.
Yeah, I would much rather that than a 4-week, but I think you would have to have a significant. I would love a 3-month season if they made a tech tree long enough where you had 3-week values. The thing about 3 weeks that make them so special is that with the CRVs, you're actually getting useful tech every single day. And so as a content creator, you can make content on the useful tech, or in your case, do a 2 or 3 hour stream on the tech that you can unlock that day. And even as a player, unlocking tech every day gets you motivated to push every day, whereas you're just kind of collecting chests on a 4-week season.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, Jess.
I just want to give a shout out to KG, who's joined us in the chat there. What's up, KG, my man? How are you doing?
Martin, I know you were mentioning 2 hours there. We've actually just passed the 2-hour mark now.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I think we sort of kind of covered. I think we've covered the tree, we've covered the decks, and I think if we've covered sort of everybody's questions in chat, then it's probably time to kind of wind it up and let those of you that want to get a bit of sleep get some sleep, and then we will reconvene in little under 10 hours on the seas with you, Scully.
Oh, it's going to be exciting. And yeah, whether it's me or whether you guys are watching Op Destroy or whether you're tuning into Chicken, there's going to be a lot of content out there tomorrow for season premiere. Not necessarily for the start of the season, but I'm talking like the entirety of the day, because you can pretty much expect like BBTFRG, Mr. Olsen to pretty much like, fire up, right after, the starters finish. And then you can probably expect Pete to go a little bit in the afternoon after that, throw in there, Flint, Michigan. And there's going to be a lot. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting day.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it. Pete's just said there about the 4-week season being, if the keys were redone on the 4-week season, it'd be a better balance. But yeah, no, absolutely agree. Yes, KG, thank you very much. Doing very well myself. Glad to see you in the chat. Jess, have you got any final words of wisdom you'd like to add before we wrap things up?
Yeah, I think just be smart. Just don't unlock foolish things, and if you do have a question, almost all of us, people in chat, everybody else, you have Telegram. So if necessary, before you unlock something, if you're on the fence about it, ask about it, or watch your replays. Like, genuinely watch the replays of the hits against you. See how other people are succeeding. And then, base your decisions on that. Just don't be too rash, because in a 3-week season, if you do a couple extra unlocks, you just get behind. And,
that's such a good point.
It's sort of hard to recover. So just, be smart with your decisions. If you have any questions or if you need any help with anything, I'm available on Telegram, or you can hit me up in my comments on my YouTube videos. Gladly help anybody that needs help. But yeah, just enjoy the season. Everybody be safe, and yeah, just excited.
Excellent. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much, Jess. So yeah, that's it from us. We will see you. I think Aaron's going to stream at some point in time tomorrow. His opening failure. His opening push to his campaign to try and humiliate me come the end of the season. But
I'm secretly helping Aaron. I'm going to secretly help him low key, make sure he gets that top 500.
That's right. I'm going top 50.
It's going to be exciting, Martin, to keep up with the competition between the two of you throughout the season.
Yeah, no, it's going to add something something to the streams as well, because obviously now the two of us are kind of starting to stream independently of each other. That banter's going to kind of go backwards and forwards as well. So I'm looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it for the drama that kind of unfolds through the season. So yeah, we'll
must see TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Certainly better than the TV that's on in this country at the moment. But yeah, so like I said, don't forget, those of you that haven't, one last time, get over to Jess's channel, smash that subscribe button, blow his channel up. The man, you've heard.
I think Skull's close to 10,000 as well. He's like inching right there, close to 10,000.
We're getting there. You know, it's not about me right now. I mean, I plug and play my promotions on my channel like crazy here. I do have to 100% agree with Martin on this, though. Guys, please make sure you are subscribed to Jess's YouTube channel. You know, I can tell that just from this stream alone, you know, that Jess is just as excited for this season, and you know that enthusiasm, that energy, you can definitely expect to be put into his content, and you will be learning something from a very experienced, knowledgeable player. So, Jess, honestly, buddy, shout out to you, man. Thanks for joining us today. And you know, I hope that, you know, we can help drive some traffic to your channel, man.
Absolutely.
Awesome, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me. I enjoyed it. 2 hours flew by extremely quick.
That's the thing you're gonna notice when you're streaming, and I know Martin can attest to this because he's not his first rodeo anymore. But like 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, 6 hours might be stretching it. But like 3 to 4 to 5 hours will literally go by like it's nothing when you're just in the zone, just focused, talking, playing the game, and it completely changes the push when you are streaming because you know you're engaging with the community, you know, while you are actively competitively pushing, and then you know there's just so much going on with the game and the chat. So yeah, it changes the dynamics of everything. So it's really fun.
If you've got good momentum going and the chat's with you, and 4 hours, 5 hours can just vanish like that. It's just, you know, it's insane where time can go.
Yep, 100%. Before you know it,
to the community, we have an amazing community of people that are extremely active and supportive all the time.
Yeah, no.
Well said. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is that, you know, as streamers, we do what we do and we do it for fun, but we couldn't do it without you guys because there's no point streaming to nobody that's watching. So really, the biggest props have to go to the community as a whole in general, because you are what makes this game so special to us all.
Yeah, you guys absolutely rock. And yeah, the Boom Beach community, honestly, just because this game has been such an important part of my life, like, yeah, you guys rule. You mean so much to me, and we're all just so grateful for, you know, the love that this community does show.
Cody Clem, Jess's channel is pinned at the top of the group. See that link at the top of the chat there? That is Jess. That is the link to Jess's channel.
And I'm also, for those of you that can't see it at the top there, I'm also sharing his link in the YouTube chat.
Excellent.
But yeah, Martin's had it pinned for the entirety of the stream here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I appreciate that as well. I normally don't do well with like recognition or anything like that, so I normally just kind of hang out in the background. But yeah, I genuinely. I mean, I talk a lot. But
you'll be perfect for YouTube then.
I know, but I tend to hang out in the background, so I genuinely appreciate that, guys.
Yeah, Jess, I'm going to read this from Rick in the chat right now. Not sure how to share his channel, but will also vouch for Jess. Excellent coach. Flex emoji beer, flex emoji.
Yeah, I try. I think I really enjoy just seeing the Pete, Cobra, Stoneheart. All those guys shared so much with me initially and taught me in their own way how to be really good at Warships. Not the best. I have my moments. But they taught me different things, and I think I enjoy that the most about this game is giving back and seeing that kind of light bulb moment in other people, at least right now.
That's how to do it, guys. Absolutely.
Yeah. It is dark. It's dark here. It's dark there as well, Fez. It's dark everywhere.
It'll be dark for me in about 30 minutes to probably half an hour. 30 minutes to an hour.
I am sorry. We are just winding it up. Hi to you, but We have
just shout out to you, David.
2 hours of going over the tech tree, but certainly go back and watch it again, and hopefully we'll cover everything that you need to know. But for now, we are out. We'll see you on the seas, like I said, in just under 10 hours. Good luck to everybody next season, and we will catch you soon. Good night.
Good night, guys. I'll see you on the seas.
Night.